Hey y'all, I didn't do any notes because I just figured I would just authentically make this video, but this video is going to be about unemployment, anyone who went to college or university, even if you started a business, whatever, and you're having a hard time, out there right now getting employment or having your business going. Right now in 2025 in Canada and the US, and I don't know where else, but for those two places I know of, a lot of people I've been seeing online have been going through a lot when it comes to not having employment or having issues financially, myself included. And so I figured, I would do, a video on it. Now, again, like I said, I didn't do my notes, so it might be a little bit, jumping from points to points, but if you're somebody who doesn't mind and you want to just sit back and listen to something, grab a snack, grab a little drink, water, tea, whatever, and yeah, so I decided I'll record me while I walk. It's a great day. Summer is wrapping up and fall is supposed to be starting, so September 2025, year's about to end, and I really hope that all the people who have been trying, who have been pushing to have their business flourish and, get a job and jumpstart, themselves financially, will really get that break. Not just others, but even myself, been going through a bit of a rough patch, and it's not easy. And I must say that it kind of stings when you know that you've done all the things that they say you're supposed to do in order to push forward in life. They say go to college. I went to college. I done went 3 times. They say work in the field, get experience, network. I've done that. And even when you do that, sometimes you still have a hard time getting ahead. There's a lot of politics in the workplace. There's a lot of things that kind of hinder people from moving ahead, and it's interesting because in my time of uncertainty in my career is when I got the most fights and backlash and negative comments from family and just from people who I thought I wouldn't, well, I shouldn't even say I thought I wouldn't get it from, but that saying when they say people will kick you when you're down. Yeah, people be like that. But the thing about me that's been keeping me going is just remembering the times that I was up, or that there was positive points in my life, and I'm hoping that y'all will be able to look back on that as well. So I just figured I would come and drop 1 or 2 tips or suggestions on this journey. So I would say I would give at least 4 tips or suggestions, and I'd say one is make sure that you put your mental health at the forefront. So a lot of times, especially going through all of this, you're so busy applying and networking and pushing that sometimes I'm big on self-care and mental health, and I have to force myself to go take a walk, go do something special for myself, give myself that treat, buy myself that special thing, because sometimes you're just so busy pushing and trying and whatever that it's just like, I'm trying to be aware of my surroundings. It's a lot. So your mental health, try and make that be a priority, even if it can't be every day or every week, maybe every other week, maybe once a month, whatever. But if you're not good, it's going to be hard to be good and get back out there and really flourish, especially financially or career-wise. Next, I would say is, there's a lot of employment agencies, a lot of, things of that nature. And you can look up the ones in your city, the ones in your zone, the ones in your area. Now, mind you, I've tried a lot of them, and sometimes I've found employment without them, because I'm not going to lie, a lot of them, they are not the greatest in terms of help. It's kind of like to me, I feel like because I've already been to college and I've been in the workforce, honestly, I started working since I was like 16 years old. So a lot of tips and tricks they're giving me, I'm not saying I'm a know-it-all, but I know it. I've been through some of those programs already and those resume and mock interviews and whatever, but sometimes it can be helpful, especially if you've been out of the job field or whatever for a while. And it can be helpful for some people. Everybody's situation is different. Next tip I'll say is, network as well. I would say write out your goals, write out a plan for the next year, 2, 4, 5. Pick up an extra skill if you can. If you're somebody who maybe you're in finance, maybe an extra skill can be, you're somebody who does like special desserts and you can do orders for people for special occasions, like just different things that you can hustle on the side and do your thing, because these companies, they be laying people off like crazy, so you gotta have your own little hustle on the side. College and university alone is apparently no longer the only way to make it. Next, I would say, and I gave 3 tips, I think I said I was gonna give 4. I don't even remember what I said. The next tip I would say is, I would say to just try not to be too hard on yourself. Try to connect with other people who may be going through a similar situation, or they went through it and they came out on the other side, or just something. Because I find a lot of times when you talk to people who everything is great and employment is well for them and financially wise and yada yada yada, they have so many advices for you. And you're like, because I've had some people giving me advice and they haven't been unemployed in decades. Okay. I'm like, what advice you got for me? You've been employed. Like, you don't even know what the job market's like. You don't even know what it's like to come up with your own resume. Okay. So, try and be around people who, I'm not saying people who are maybe in your situation exactly, because you want to be able to have somebody be able to pull you out. But sometimes, being around people who know what you're going through and they have an idea and they'll be able to empathize and not, oh girl, did you try this? Did you try cold calling? Did you try going in person? Like, it's 2025. A lot of places don't want you going in person. Trust me, I know. So, as I said, I went to college, I worked in my field, I pushed, I did everything that they say you're supposed to do. And sometimes even that isn't enough. And so I've had to tell myself, and I'm telling anyone who's watching, have empathy for yourself. Try and be easy on yourself. Just know that sometimes in life, no matter how much you follow the rules and you do what you're supposed to do, well, life has a different result for you and you have to pivot. And it is what it is. So some people will say, does that mean going to college or university is a scam? And I would say, I don't know if I'd say it's a scam, because to be honest, I know I found the pros and the cons, and I am somewhat happy that I went. I learned certain skills and certain ways of how to move and how to be in the world that I feel like, I'm not saying you couldn't learn them if you didn't go, but I mean, so I wouldn't say necessarily a scam, but I feel like I could have went through this struggle without having to rack up so much student loans. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I didn't go, I wouldn't have all that debt. But yeah, I'm saying, it is what it is. It is what it is. I tried, because I know that if I didn't go, I would have said, oh my God, I wish I went. So many people in my family went. And in Canada, in Toronto, here where I am, they offer a lot of assistance for people who want to, at least at the time when I went to college, who want to go. They offered a lot of financial assistance, a lot of guidance. And so I would kind of regret it if I never took up, taking advantage of those opportunities. So there's pros and cons. But as I said before, anybody who's thinking of going back to college or whatever, just think about it in the sense of like, what do you want long term, and just look at where you want to be and how you want your career or your business to pan out. Because if I was really thinking about things, like really, really thinking about things, I'm not sure if I would have went to college, or I would have went and did something else. There was another program I wanted to take, and to be honest, if I took it, I feel like I would have been a little bit further in where I would want to be in life. So just think, make a plan, strategize. Don't just jump, and don't just jump because you feel like, oh, these people are doing things, this is happening, this is the new trend, yada yada yada. People are saying this, people are saying, why are you unemployed for so long, this, that, and the third. People will always have something to say. It's about what you want to do with your life and your career, and the path that you know that you have for yourself. And I wish I thought about that back when I was in my early 20s. And just when I came out of high school, when I was 18, 19. But anyways, don't want to make this long. And like I said, I didn't make any notes, so I feel like I'm jumping points. But the main point I want to say to wrap it up is, for anyone who's unemployed, for anyone who feels like they did all the things we were supposed to do, go to school, this and that, network, work in the field, corporate and whatever, and you're still struggling, having a hard time, or looking for work, or whatever it is, hang on in there. Even me, myself, I have to constantly be giving myself pep talks, because it's not easy. It's a mental thing. Like, it's draining doing this. Like, life is expensive, and if you don't have your finances flowing, like whoa. But anyways, if y'all want me to do another video that's maybe more detailed or a live, let me know. Drop it in the comments or DM me, and you know what, I'll catch you in my next video. Bye y'all, take care.